from here. Before the words were well out of his mouth, he was whisked away somehow, and in his place appeared a tall man, snuffled up to the eyes, leaning on the arm of another tall man, who tried to say something and couldn't. Of course, there was a general stamped, I don't know, is it this one? Let me have it then. And for several minutes, everybody seemed to lose their wits, for the strangest things were done, and no one said a word. Mrs. March became invisible in the embrace of four pairs of loving arms. Jo disgraced herself by nearly fainting away, and had to be doctored by Laurie in the china closet. Mr. Brooke kissed Meg entirely by mistake, as he somewhat incoherently explained, and Amy, the dignified, tumbled over a stool, and never stopping to get up, hugged and cried over her father's boots in the most touching manner. Mrs. March, or maybe it's Miss March. Mrs. March was the first to recover herself, and held up her hand with a warning, "Hush, remember, Beth." But it was too late. The study door flew open. The little red rubber appeared on the threshold. Joy put strength into the feeble limbs, and Beth ran straight into her father's arms. Never mind what happened just after that, for the full hearts overwhelmed, washing away the bitterness of the past and leaving only the sweetness of the present. It was not at all romantic, but a hearty laugh set everybody straight again, for Hannah was discovered behind the door, sobbing over the fat turkey which she had forgotten to put down when she rushed up from the kitchen. As the laugh subsided, Mrs. March began to thank Mr. Brooke for his faithful care of her husband, at which Mr. Brooke suddenly remembered that Mr. March needed rest, and seizing, he precipitately, what a word, let me check it, check it later, precipitately retired. Then the two invalids were ordered to repose, which they did, by both sitting in one big armchair and talking hard. Mr. March told how he had longed to surprise them, and how, when the fine weather came, he had been allowed by his doctor to take advantage of it, how devoted Brooke had been, and how he was altogether a most estimable and upright young man. Why, Mr. March paused a minute just there, and after a glance at Meg, who was violently poking the fire, looked at his wife with an inquiring lift of the eyebrows. I leave you to imagine. Also, Mrs. March gently nodded her head and asked, rather appropriately, if he wouldn't have something to eat. Alrighty. Where am I? Jo saw and understood the look, and and she stalked grimly away to get wine and beef tea, muttering to herself as she slammed the door, "I hate estimable young men with brown eyes." Alright, I think I need to check this one too. Alrighty, what am I now? Yes. There never was such a Christmas dinner as they had that day. The fat turkey was a sight to behold. When Hannah sent him up, stuffed, browned, and decorated. So was the plum pudding, which quite melted in one's mouth. Likewise, the jellies, in which Amy revealed like a fly in a honey pot. Everything turned out well, which was a mercy, Hannah said, for my mind was that flustered mum. That it is a miracle? Is this a word? Miracle I didn't roasted the pudding and stuff the turkey with raisins. Yeah, well, it's raisins. Let me highlight this one. Why they type it like this? Is it a new word? Well, I need to check it then. And stuff the turkey with raisins, let alone villain of it in a cloth. Mr. Lawrence and his grandson dined with them. Also Mr. Brooke, at whom Joe glowered darkly to Laurie's infinite amusement. 2 easy chairs stood side by side at the head of the table, in which sat Beth and her father, feasting modestly on chicken and a little fruit. They drank healths, told stories, sang songs, reminisced. What a word? I think. Do I need it to? Maybe. As the old folk say, and had a thoroughly good time. A sly ride had been planned, but the girls would not leave their father. Just highlight this one. So the guests departed early, and as twilight gathered, the happy family sat together around the fire. Just a year ago, we were groaning over the dismal Christmas we expected to have. Do you remember? Asked Joe, breaking a short pause which had followed a long conversation about many things. Rather a pleasant year on the whole, said Meg, smiling at the fire, and congratulating herself on having treated Mr. Brooke with dignity. I think it's been a pretty hard one, observed Amy, watching the light shine on her ring with thoughtful eyes. I'm glad it's over, because we've got you back, whispered Beth, who sat on her father's knee. Rather a rough road, what a mouthful word, rough road for you to travel, my little pilgrims, especially the latter part of it. But you have got on bravely, and I think the burdens are in a fair way to tremble off very soon, said Mr. March, looking with fatherly satisfaction at the 4 young faces gathered around him. How do you know? Did mother tell you? Asked Joe. Not much. Straws show which way the wind blows, and I've made several discoveries today. Oh, tell us what they are, cried Meg, who sat beside him. Here is one. And taking up the hand which lay on the arm of his chair, he pointed to the roughened forefinger, a burn on the back, and 2 or 3 little hard spots on the palm. I remember a time when this hand was white and smooth, and your first care was to keep it so. It was very pretty then, but to me it is much prettier now. For in this seeming blemishes I read a little history. A burnt offering has been made of vanity. This hardened palm has earned something better than blisters, and I'm sure the sewing done by these pricked fingers will last a long time. So much goodwill went into the stitches. Meg, my dear, I value the womanly skill which keeps home happy more than white hands or fashionable accomplishments. I am proud to shake this good industrious little hand and hope I shall not soon be asked to give it away. If Meg had wanted a reward for hours of patient labour, she received it in the hearty pressure of her father's hand and the approving smile he gave her. What about Jo? Please say something nice, for she has tried so hard and been so very, very good to me, said Beth in her father's ear. He laughed and looked across at the tall girl who sat opposite with an unusually mild expression in her brown face. In spite of the curly crop, I don't see the son, Jo, whom I left a year ago, said Mr. March. I see a young lady who pins her collar straight, laces her boots neatly, and neither whistles, talks slang, nor lies on the reg as she used to do. Her face is rather thin and pale just now with watching and anxiety, but I like to look at it, for it has grown gentler, and her voice is lower. She doesn't pounce, but moves quietly and takes care of a certain little person in a motherly way, which delights me. I rather miss my wild girl, but if I get a strong, helpful, tender-hearted woman in her place, I shall feel quite satisfied. I don't know whether the shearing suburb are black sheep, but I do know that in all Washington I couldn't find anything beautiful enough to be bought with the $25 which my good girl sent me. Jo's keen eyes were rather dim for a minute, and her thin face grew rosy in the firelight as she received her father's praise, feeling that she did deserve a portion of it. No, Beth, said Amy, longing for her turn, but ready to wait. There's so little of her. I'm afraid to say much for fear she will slip away altogether, though she's not so shy as she used to be, began their father cheerfully, but recollecting how nearly he had lost her. He held her close, saying tenderly with her cheek against his own, I've got you safe, my Beth, and I'll keep you so, please God. After a minute's silence, he looked down at Amy, who sat on the cricket at his feet, and said with a cares of the shining hair, I observed that Amy took drumsticks at dinner, run errands for her mother all the afternoon, gave Meg her place tonight, and has waited on everyone with patience and good humour. I also observe that she does not fret much nor look in the glass, and has not even mentioned a very pretty ring which she wears. Yeah, well, so I conclude that she has learned to think of other people more and of herself less, and has decided to try and mould her character as carefully as she moulds her little clay figures. I am glad of this, for though I should be very proud of a graceful statue made by her, I shall be infinitely prouder of a lovable daughter. Am I screaming? Yeah, I think. With a talent for making life beautiful to herself and others. What are you thinking of, Beth? Asked Jo when Amy had thanked her father and told about her ring. I read in Pilgrim's Progress today how after many troubles Christian and Hopeful came to a pleasant green meadow where lilies bloomed all the year round, and there they rested happily as we do now, before they went on to their journey's end, answered Beth, adding, as she slipped out of her father's arms and went slowly to the instrument. It's singing time now, and I want to be in my old place. I'll try to sing the song of the shepherd boy, which the pilgrims heard. I made the music for father because he likes the verses, yeah, well. So sitting at the dear little piano, Beth softly touched the keys. And in the sweet voice they had never thought to hear again, sang to her own accompaniment the quiet hymn, which was a singularly fitting song for her. He that is down need fear no fall. He that is low, no pride. He that is humble, ever shall have God to be his guide. I am content with what I have, little be it or much, and Lord, contentment still I crave, because though safest such, fullness to them a burden is, that go and build a pilgrimage, here little and hereafter bless, is best from age to age. Oh no, I'm about to finish this novel, but I don't think I'm gonna finish it in this stream, maybe the next one. Alrighty, chapter 23. Aunt March settles the question. Like bees swarming after their queen, mother and daughters hovered about Mr. March the next day, neglecting everything to look at, wait upon, and listen to the new infaled who was in a fair way to be killed by kindness. As he sat propped up in the big chair by Beth's sofa, with the other three close by, and Hannah popping in her head now and then to peek at the dear man. Nothing seemed needed to complete the happiness, but something was needed, and the elder ones felt it, though none. Alrighty, what am I? I forgot. What am I? Peek at the dear man. Nothing seemed needed to complete their happiness, but something was needed, and elder ones felt it, though none confessed the fact. Mr. and Mrs. March looked at one another with an anxious expression as their eyes followed Meg. Jo had sudden fits of sobriety and was seen to shake her fist at Mr. Brooks' umbrella, which had been left in the hall. Meg was absent-minded, shy, and silent. Started when the bell rang, and colored when John's name was mentioned. Amy said everyone seemed waiting for something and couldn't settle down, which was strange, since father was safe at home, and Beth innocently wondered why their neighbors didn't run over as usual. Laurie went by in the afternoon, and seeing Meg at the window, seemed suddenly possessed with a melodramatic fit, for he fell down on one knee in the snow, beat his breast, tore his hair, and clasped his hands imploringly, as if begging some boon, and when Meg told him to behave himself and go away, he wrung imaginary tears out of his handkerchief and staggered around the corner as if in utter despair. "What does the goose mean?" said Meg, laughing and trying to look unconscious. "He's showing you how your Jean will go on by and by. Touching, isn't it?" answered Jo scornfully. "Don't say my Jean. It isn't proper or true." but Meg's voice lingered over the words as if they sounded pleasant to her. Please don't plague me. Plague me, Joe. I've told you I don't care much about him, and there isn't to be anything said, but we are all to be friendly and go on as before. Alright? We can't, for something has been said, and Lurie's mischief has spoiled you for me. I see it. And does Mother, you are not like your old self a bit, and seem ever so far away from me. I don't mean to plague you, and will bear it like a man. Oh, where am I? Again? Like a man, what is it? Oh no, again. Well, like a man, but I do wish it was all settled. I hate to wait, so if you mean ever to do it, make haste and have it over quickly, said Joe bittishly. I can't say or do anything till he speaks, and he won't, because Father said I was too young, began Meg, bending over her work with an odd little smile which suggested that she did not quite agree with her father on that point. If he did speak, you wouldn't know what to say, but would cry or blush or let him have his own way, instead of giving a good decided no. I am not so silly and weak as you think. I know just what I should say, for I've planned it all, so I needn't be taken unawares. There's no knowing what may happen, and I wish to be prepared. Joe couldn't help smiling at the important air which Meg had unconsciously assumed, and which was as becoming as the pretty color varying in her cheeks. Would you mind telling me what you'd say? Asked Joe more respectfully. Not at all. You are 16 now, quite old enough to be my confidant, and my experience will be useful to you by and by, perhaps in your own affairs of this sort. Don't mean to have any. It is fun to watch other people philander, what word? Highlighted. But I should feel like a fool doing it myself, said Joe, looking alarmed at the thought. I think not. If you liked anyone very much, and he liked you, Meg spoke as if to herself, and glanced out at the lane where she had often seen lovers walking together in the summer twilight. I thought you were going to tell your speech to that man, said Joe rudely, shortening her sister's little reverie. All right. Oh, I should merely say quite calmly and decidedly, thank you. Alrighty. Decidedly. Thank you, Mr. Brooke. You are very kind, but I agree with Father that I am too young to enter into any engagement at present, so please say no more. But let us be friends as we were. That's stiff and cool enough. I don't believe you'll ever say it. All right. Say it. And I know he won't be satisfied if you do. If he goes on like the rejected lovers in books, you'll give in rather than hurt his feelings. No, I won't. I shall tell him I've made up my mind, and shall walk out of the room with dignity. Meg rose as she spoke, and was just going to rehearse the dignified exit, when a step in the hall made her fly into her seat and begin to so as if her life depended on finishing that particular scene in a given time. Jo smothered a laugh at the sudden change, and when someone gave a modest tap, opened the door with a grim aspect, which was anything but hospitable.